Well, hey there, crypto friends. Thanks again for joining me. Today, I have a special guest on the channel. Welcome Michael Wagner to the group here, to the channel. He is the CEO and founder of Star Atlas. Thanks for joining us, Michael.
Hey Shay, pleasure to be here. Thanks, man.
Yeah, definitely. So, I'm obviously a big gamer. I love jumping into new games. I tend to get into a lot of like pre-alpha or closed beta situations where I'm testing out a lot of games ahead of time, and I love doing so. And so, in that same frame, when it comes to the blockchain world, there's so much new projects that are coming every day. So many new projects. That's great to be able to see a lot of development here and get to test all these. So. Glad to have you on the channel today talking about Star Atlas and what you guys have going on. But before we jump into the game and all the things, just tell us a little bit about yourself, how you kind of got to this position and to Star Atlas today.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a comment on that is we are operating in this space of the emergence of this technology, and it is amazing to see the amount of innovation that is occurring on a daily basis. And even what we're doing internally, the decision making, strategy, planning, and execution that we execute on internally, it's you just have to be so dynamic. Right, so we've got kind of a long-term roadmap, a midterm roadmap, short-term roadmap. We can get into all of that, but I think it's just so fascinating to see the innovation that's occurring in the space, and that kind of segues into my background. Just I come from a legacy financial background, working in portfolio management, investment and securities analysis, CFA charter holder, which is essentially it's a designation for valuation of things like securities, stocks, bonds, derivatives, and the like. So legacy finance space, got introduced to Bitcoin in 2013 through altcoin mining
Nice.
with GPUs. And so I guess a quick tangent from that, from the formal career, I grew up just gaming, right? And our group of friends through high school, through my formative years in the 90s, we called ourselves the LANarchists. And for anyone who's old enough, that didn't have the privilege of broadband internet widely available, the only way we could multiplayer game was to just
LAN
bring
party,
our
man.
computers to someone's houses. LAN parties, that's it.
I'm right there with you. I remember I had a special carrying strap for my tower that I could like pull and go grab with me and go to places and stuff with it, so you can get your LAN party on. That's great.
Man, that sounds like a luxury.
It was like, seriously, I love that thing. It was like the most amazing thing. Like, it came with the motherboard that I bought at some point, and it was a LAN party motherboard, and it was like special carry case. Yes.
I mean, these things were monsters back then too, And the
Yeah,
monitors were
yeah.
super heavy. And I had one of my friends lived about half mile away, and we grew up out in kind of the rural area of Las Vegas in the desert. And I would just on weekends lug my computer up to his house, just walk the half mile with my big tower, and then go back home, pick up the monitor, and bring that up there. So
Yeah, nice.
anyway, a lot of fun times. But grew up gaming. Our weekends were spent, oftentimes just staying up for 2 or 3 days straight, drinking Mountain Dew, eating pizza. Kind of like the standard nerdy things to do. We weren't out there partying with alcohol. We were just playing games all weekend. But so nevertheless, a long history in gaming. And as a part of that, built all of my computers growing up as well. So when my friend introduced me to script coin mining, it was, it seemed like an immediate opportunity because I knew how to build the computers. He kind of showed me how to set up these milk crates with multiple GPUs on it. And I was like, this is fantastic. It's a little investment in equipment, but perpetual revenue stream. Now, I was completely wrong about that, by the way. Script coin mining was not profitable for long at all. And this was right at the kind of the peak of 2013 before the Mt. Gox collapse.
Yeah, that's what I got into.
Nice, man. Yeah, so bad timing, but the plus side was I was so captivated with what was going on even back then, and kind of this new paradigm that we could operate under. And so spent the next couple of years really just immersing myself in learning as much as I could about blockchain and crypto, and even some of the more, I guess, complex back-end systems operations type stuff that were necessary to operate these miners. I had never compiled a program in Linux and run it previously, let alone SSHing into these into this equipment. And anyway, there was a lot to learn there, but
Right.
The upside was I was hooked. I was hooked essentially from day one, even with the financial incentive going away. I was just hooked with the tech. And so in 2015, I was fortunate enough to be able to kind of give up my formal career, focus full time on cryptocurrency, and launched my first company in 2016. It's a crypto and cannabis play. It's called Tokes, or Multi-Chain Ventures today, as kind of the holding company. And I am fortunate in that the team that built Multi-Chain Ventures with me are still with me today. So they're co-founders on Star Atlas, and we started to conceptualize this game in mid 2020, having seen the momentum and traction that NFTs were creating, that blockchain-based gaming was creating, and also the potential to integrate decentralized finance into this gaming application. And if you think about DeFi, it's like really is a gamification of finance. That I know me personally, I'm kind of out there scouting for liquidity pools and AMMs and figuring out how do I maximize my yield off of this asset base that I have. So I think DeFi itself is a gamification of finance, and then we've extended it one step further by incorporating that into a true gaming user experience. So yeah, that's the background. It's been a wild ride. It's hard just thinking back over the years. It just feels crazy. It feels surreal.
Yeah. And there's always a good journey behind these things. Like I said, for everyone in crypto, it's such a new industry and cutting edge, and there's so much going on all the time, fast paced, right? To kind of really see how people got here is an interesting story, because it's a little bit different for everybody, but also some very similar elements too, that kind of like, man, this thing is huge, I want to be on this. I had the same exact notion. And so now that we've now we're here kind of talking about this new project, Star Atlas. Tell us, set the story for Star Atlas, because what it comes down to is that there's quite a few space MMO type of games out there, but tell us a little bit about what we're kind of the world of Star Atlas here.
Yeah, you got it. So from a genre standpoint, it's grand strategy space exploration game, MMO, so massively multiplayer online game, and further extended into the metaverse. It's kind of longer term thinking for us is the whole metaverse concept. General game mechanics include space exploration, territory control, political domination. And then we enhance that experience through the integration of blockchain and crypto. What I would note here is that our primary differentiator when we were doing our market analysis was we wanted to build the first or amongst the first AAA quality games on blockchain. And so that's where we saw a major deficiency. I think it's great to see the innovation, but they were still very rudimentary game mechanics. A lot of times, card-based or turn-based games, there's nothing that was live action, real-time rendered 3D world that people could live within and game within. And so we set out to build an attractive, entertaining AAA gaming experience first and foremost. And so to do that, we are looking at building in Unreal Engine 5 when that comes out. You've probably seen some of the gameplay demos, and it's just amazing to see the graphical fidelity that they introduce. RTS and just full cinematic quality rendered in real time within a game engine. So we believe that that's going to give us a significant advantage in terms of time to execution to complete this AAA gaming experience. But what we see further is the potential to enhance that again with blockchain mechanics. So looking first and foremost at true asset ownership via NFTs. If you've been playing games a long time, I've spent many thousands of hours in MMOs. The entertainment value is great. It's a great way to spend time, but how fantastic would it be to be able to extract that value back out?
Oh yeah, I'm a huge play to earn fan. That's one of the main things I love focusing on, and I do live stream around it. So it's a great concept. I'm right there with you.
Yeah. So we couple that with a dual token ecosystem. So we have Atlas, which is our in-game transactional currency. This is effectively in-game gold. It's used for all different types of operating expenses, and it's also the primary reward mechanism within the game. And then aside from that, we have Polis, which is our take on a governance token. And so in our case, it has functionality within the game universe in that it influences this political strategy, like the ability to politically control regions of space and then have power over other players that are operating in that space. So you can impose taxes on another player that owns land in a region that you have the governance rights of. And then outside of the game, more of a DAO-like token, wherein the players are actually able to vote on long-term development decision-making for us. And so that includes all things such as economic decision-making, asset release schedules, feature requests, feature releases, kind of development schedules, all of these things, the Polis holder will be empowered to vote on that process longer term. Now, I do want to caveat that and say, short term, we have the vision that we believe needs to be executed to get a final product to market.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Consensus by committee doesn't work well when you have a project of this scope initially, right? So let's get something out to the market and then incorporate their feedback through voting rights in the longer term development. And then the final part is also incorporating DeFi. So having liquidity pools and having AMMs and having lending pools and yield farming, all of these directly in game that have real financial consequences for the people that are participating. But it's also this educational exposure that they otherwise wouldn't have, right? Like playing around in DeFi is fun. Going and looking at my bank and like moving funds around is not. Sending a wire is not fun, but finding paths to maximize yield, as I said, is very much a gamification of finance. So why not take that concept and also integrate that into what we're producing for the world? And I should also mention here, we are building on Solana. We made that decision late last year. We do feel like it was a great decision. We're seeing a ton of momentum in the ecosystem now. I get to be a little bit of a hipster and say we were there early, even though it was 7 months ago now, 7-8 months ago. But I feel like there were maybe 30 projects on Solana at the time when we initiated our discussions, and now it's over 250. And I mean,
so
every day.
What was it about Solana that made you go that direction that you felt would be great for the game, in-game currency, and then also for like NFTs that you're going to be doing here?
We started with an assessment on the tech stack. So would it be technically capable of providing a base layer or foundational backend for a AAA game on chain? And so in Solana's case, high transaction throughput, super low cost, so less than 1/100th of a penny per transaction, highly scalable network, as well as low latency, so sub-second finality on state changes. So from a tech perspective, once again, if you have millions of users that are executing transactions, call them, on chain, and you need to record state changes, well, the network better be capable of managing all of those transactions, or else you're going to have a complete failure of the game. So that was the first part. Just seeing the team, interacting with the team, we were on a number of calls before we made the selection, and the support that they were willing to provide us, from tech to marketing to kind of exposure and assistance with our growth. That was attractive. And then, I'd also add here that the participants, the supporters, the backers of Solana provide critical infrastructure to the blockchain space today. So looking at, SBF and FTX, the exchange, as well as Alameda Research for market making. And we did secure a seed round purchase from FTX and Project Serum, as well as the decentralized exchange infrastructure that they provide with Project Serum. All of these things it just provided the perfect infrastructure for us with the right connection to the right people who could get us exposed to the public.
So it just kind of all came together with all the pieces that you really needed there, huh? Wow.
It checked all of the boxes. And then beyond that, there was just this intuitional sense of this thing is building momentum. Like, we want to be on the front of this wave. Or we want to catch this wave, and we did, and we're seeing the benefits of that now, just in the explosive growth within the Solana ecosystem.
So, when it comes to the stage that we're at currently, obviously this game is still in development. There's you guys don't have like a playable entity at this point, but what you're doing right now is you're doing this like initial rebirth event, right? where you're doing some what you guys call meta posters. I like that. I like that term, meta poster, because it makes a lot of sense because they're like these AR enabled sweet NFT posters. Tell us a little bit about that and how that is kind of kicking things off here for Star Atlas.
Yeah, I love that question, and I also just want to preface this comment with our audience, our community, which is growing quite rapidly, is also quite diverse in their motivations, because we're kind of catering to this degenerate crypto speculator economy, of which I consider myself one, by the way. I don't use that negatively. Like I consider myself a DeFi degen.
We're all degens here. We're all degens here.
If we're in the space, if we're in crypto, we're probably somehow a degen, right? We take outsized risk. So we're catering to this audience, catering to the NFT art collectors. And then we're also catering to a gaming audience that doesn't have really any familiarity with how the crypto integration will work, although it sounds like an attractive value proposition. So getting everybody on the same page as to where we are creating value and what it is that people are actually participating in right now has been somewhat of a challenge, but I think we're doing a good job at it. We've had some great sales and traction, but just to get into what the actual rebirth genesis of a metaverse campaign is a 14-week campaign where we're producing digital art. And to your point, we call them meta posters. These are multimedia posters. So we created all of the art in-house. We worked with Shape Immersive out of Vancouver to produce AR overlays on every poster. So when you view this AR experience, it gives you a true three-dimensional depth and immersion into the piece itself. So the first piece, we've seen a bunch of posts online from people that are recording these experiences, but yeah. Kind of feels like you're in the metaverse already, just by viewing this art experience. And then we've collaborated with mainstream musical talent. So on the first two posters, it was Blondish. We had Jason Silva, a well-known futurist, produce a voice overlay on that. And then on the third poster, which is currently running, it's the Bassjackers produced the track for that. Mm-hmm. So. And then on top of it, we're adding all of this in-game value. So you get these loot box drops based on reaching various reward tiers. This is the part that I really want to clarify. We see a lot of intrinsic value in the digital art. There's a lot of art, pure art, being traded across these marketplaces. Yeah. Now we're trying to enhance that value by including all of these other bonuses and delivering the best user experience with the art itself. But we are really focused on just selling the art, which unveils part of the lore of the game, the background of the game, how we got to where we are in the Star Atlas metaverse in the year 2620. Right? So that's the purpose of this campaign. And it's kind of a historical moment. People have this opportunity to purchase the first NFT that was ever produced by Star Atlas. Right? Yeah. These are collector's items. Yeah, right? Yeah. I mean, that's what they are. Once again, enhancing that through additional game item drops. But the idea is to unveil one of these posters each week, 13 weeks. The price starts at $64 for the first poster. It doubles every week. Mm-hmm. And so the final post of the 13th poster is, it costs $262,000. The entire campaign, if you were to buy all of them, is $525,000. But once again, what I want to point out here is we specifically designed this model to be egalitarian. We wanted to ensure that we could be inclusive of everybody. So starting prices at a low enough cost that everybody should be able to get into the game. And also the value that you get proportional to that poster is higher in the earlier rounds. Right,
yeah, of course. The earlier you get in, the more value you're getting out of your dollar there.
Yeah, well, so that, and for example, the first poster was $64 when we sold it. Now it's trading on secondary market at $115, $120, something like that. But the value of in-game assets that you got from that was $58. Mm-hmm. So it was roughly 90% of the value of the poster was delivered in in-game assets. And when you get to the last poster, the $262,000 poster, you're only getting about 60% of the value in in-game assets. But that's because we've created this probabilistic rarity model. Because the price doubles every week and the window within which we sell these posters decreases every week, mm-hmm. It's more likely that there's going to be fewer and fewer posters as you get closer to the end of the sale.
Right.
There might only be yeah, there might only be 5 or 10 people in the world that have poster 14 with all of the perks that accompany that. So, so the idea was to be able to ensure that everybody can get access, everybody can play some game assets. But those whales that are out there, those people that have been in the crypto space for a long time, those people that understand the collectible model, there's also an opportunity for them. And you don't, it doesn't have to be binary, right? You don't have to be either all or none. You can find yourself somewhere on that scale, whatever kind of caters to your budget.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the rebirth campaign, and it's people have been loving these posters.
No, yeah, I think the designs of them are really amazing. The AR aspects of it, I think, really take it over the top. And yeah, I mean, as you guys heard, if you're interested in having a little bit of Star Atlas history, get in now. Don't wait until you have to pay quite a bit for these posters. The last one, I mean, is obviously one of those whales crowning jewels for their collection. So. All right, so now we know kind of what's going on right now. Tell us a little bit about what is coming up next here, and what you look for the future here in the very near future for Star Atlas.
Yeah, and the last thing about the posters is I think that the other DeFi infrastructure that's getting created right now, platforms around fractionalization of assets, and we looked at what Beeple's B20 and Metacoven did. With the B20 purchasing all of those and now hosting those in various metaverses and fractionalizing that and allowing everybody to take a share of it. We think that that's it's just super compelling. And so people that own the full poster series will have that optionality, right, to sell a portion of their entire collection to the public. And this will effectively live on in perpetuity. So that was the last comment on the poster series. But the idea is that we are now going to have engagement points with the consumer, with the gamer, with the collector, with the speculator for the next 14 weeks. And that takes us up to the launch of our mini game. Now, our mini game is an in-browser experience. You'll be able to participate in gameplay mechanics like ship configuration, ship missions where you're actually out exploring space, as well as land construction, building your mining equipment on that land, which generates ore, or which can be converted into Atlas, otherwise real revenue for you, or orbital space station configuration as well. So a lot of these are kind of crafting mechanics, but we also have this ship exploration model where you can go out and actually participate in missions, earning XP, earning income off of that. Mm-hmm. Concurrently, we are starting to on-ramp our team for the Unreal Engine development. Now, a game of this caliber typically will take 5 to 7 years minimum to deliver. If you look at one of our, I would say, closest competitors, it's Star Citizen in terms of genre and quality, with the exception of they don't have any of the financial incentives or blockchain mechanics. They're still in an alpha state after almost 10 years, right?
Yep, that's the big white whale right there.
It is, and it's it's an obvious challenge, but once again, because we're selecting Unreal as a game engine, right, and because of our expertise in blockchain and the way that we're releasing the game, we think we'll be in an advantageous position. But the other idea here is, let's produce a game that people can actually play. And yes, it's not the full experience, it's not the full vision, it's not the fully immersive 3D world where you can throw in your VR headset and feel like you're flying around in space. But it does give you the chance to play, and it also gives you the chance to monetize those assets that you're purchasing, right? You'll be able to start earning as soon as July or August through the minigame. And then beyond that, the next phase for us is to release a limited scope pre-alpha version of the shipyard module is what we're calling it, but it's essentially the 3D immersive world where you'll be able to walk around on the space station, interact with other players in three-dimensional space as avatars, and view and configure your assets in kind of like real live 3D space. Mm-hmm. Wow. And that'll be we're targeting mid 2022 for this pre-alpha release.
Pre-alpha release of the walkable 3D space one. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like you guys have a lot of stuff going on here in this kind of lead up to the game, which I think is great. Having a lot of content and getting things out there like this meta poster rebirth campaign, I think is actually a really great idea. allows people to kind of get some hype here ahead of time, get in on the you know, the ground floor of this game, and you know, be ready for the mini game that's coming out here pretty soon. So thank you again, Michael, for coming on the channel here today and talking to us a little bit about Star Atlas and what you guys are doing, and the, you know, the kind of the idea behind this game. You know, can't wait to see you know, a real AAA style game, especially on Unreal Engine, you know, compared to some other engines we see out there, you know, doing the dang thing. I mean, this is that's going to be a high quality game, you know. So very excited for this, and you know, hopefully we'll be able to check back in with you and see the progress, and we'll check out the mini game when it releases.
I can't wait to do some gameplay demos with people. Everybody's asking us. Trust me, we want to play this. we want to play this just as much as everyone else, right? So we're making sure we get there. And you know, one final point is just the growth of the team has really been incredible. We started with 4 people in December, which were the co-founders, and we are over 60 people today across departments. You know, heavily weighted towards design and product, but scaling all departments. And so, yeah, a lot of moving pieces, but everything just feels right, feels really good. And we're getting some great people. We have people that are working with us from 15 countries globally. You know, we don't have really a central office. So we're getting this nice cultural injection from the team as well, which we think is really going to produce this ubiquitously attractive game experience in the future.
Nice. That's a great point, and I definitely look forward to it. So, all right, folks, thanks again for joining us. That's about all we have for today. Until next time, stash that crypto, friends.